So I'm hanging out at the house. I'm gonna do a couple of quick review videos and let y'all take a look at my setup here and my experience on the water as far as using this equipment. I'm gonna do a quick review today on talking about the Motor Guide Xi5 versus the Minn Kota iPilot. Both of these are GPS operated trolling motors, and if you're in the market and you're looking for which one to get, here's some pros and cons about the two. So I am running the Motor Guide. There it is right there. I have been running this motor for, let's see, a little over 2 years now. Okay, so here's the good and the bad. This is the 36 volt 105 pound trolling motor because I'm running a 24 foot center console. When you're running a bigger boat, you definitely need the extra power in order to hold you where you need and to run all day. So that's something you need to consider if you're in the market for a GPS operated trolling motor or any trolling motor in general. When you're looking at putting a trolling motor on your boat, you want to get the biggest one as far as the voltage goes that you can afford for the size of your boat. So if I was to run a, maybe I'd say 21 foot boat and under, I would usually go with a 48 volt system instead of a 36 volt system, and then anything above 21 feet I would use a 36 volt system unless I'm fishing a whole lot. Like if you're out there and you're a tournament fisherman or you're trying to get into tournament fishing and you're going to be running your trolling motor all the time, if you've got enough motor on the back of your boat to push the extra weight of running an extra battery, then I would suggest going with a 36 volt system. Anyways, back into the review. The Motor Guide Xi5, I've been running it for 2 years. I have had problems with this motor. When it runs good, but I have had the motherboard go out twice. And if it wasn't under warranty, I'm not sure how much that would cost, but I don't think I'd want to be paying for it. So I would suggest doing what I did. I actually paid, I think it was $200 for an extra 2-year warranty on the motor, and I would highly recommend going ahead and spending that extra $200, purchasing the warranty. That way, if and when that you do have problems with it, you can get it fixed. And before you buy it, you need to look up an authorized place around you that can get it fixed. I live in Texas. There happens to be a certified mechanic for the Motor Guide and the Minn Kota that's about 30 minutes from me, so it's not that bad for me to run and go get it, drop it off, get it fixed. So that's important though. They work really good when they work, but when they break, though, you feel like you're handicapped, you're down, you're hurting. Because when I go fishing, I'll pull up on a spot and I'll fish there and I'll use that trolling motor. Sometimes I'll sit there for 8 hours running that trolling motor, and it works, you know. And the places that I fish, you know, we're using the power poles. It's not an option because there's waves that come through there, and if any of y'all out there running power poles, you can't use power poles when the waves are hitting you because it's going to move you around, and it's just not, they're not going to hold you. The trolling motor will bring you back. Yeah, it's louder, but depending on where you're fishing, you can deal with it. So anyways, in my experience, the trolling motor has been very good. One thing I can definitely say over the Minn Kota is the Motor Guide holds a tighter GPS lock. So for instance, if you're out there on the water, you're fishing on a little spot that's as big around, you know, 10-foot circle you're trying to fish, and you're off of that, you're off of it a little bit, or the current's going, the wind's blowing, whatever, you push that anchor lock on the Motor Guide, it's going to hold you in a very tight circle. I've been on several boats, friends of mine's boats, that are running the Minn Kotas, and they work, but they're louder. I would say they might be a little bit stronger as far as when you're moving full speed. Maybe it's the prop on them, I don't know, but it seems like they do move a little bit faster, got a little bit more power. But the one thing that I don't like about the Minn Kota is that it does not hold as big of a, it doesn't hold as small of a GPS anchor whenever you're stopped. And I don't care for that at all, because if you're fishing next to a wall, like, I mean, I'm parked under here in my house, but look, I'm a foot away from my pylon there. You know, if you're fishing within 5 feet of the wall, I don't have a problem doing that with my Motor Guide. My Motor Guide will keep me right where I need to be. The Minn Kota, I would not trust it to do that, because you're gonna swing. You'll swing sometimes 15 feet off of your spot before that thing starts moving you back over. Like, you really sway back and forth a lot more. The other main reason that I got a Motor Guide and my vote is for a Motor Guide with my setup is because I'm running a Lowrance. So I'm running a Lowrance HDS 12 on my boat. This is the unit that I'm running. It is the Gen 2 Touch. I have not had any problems with this unit. And one of the reason why I got the Motor Guide for the Lowrance is because the Lowrance actually will talk to the Motor Guide. The Motor Guide will talk back to the Lowrance. Minn Kota will not talk to the Lowrance. It'll only talk to a Humminbird. So let's give you a scenario. These guys use a little remote control unit to operate the trolling motor, right? So you got the remote control. Well, you forget the remote control in your truck. So what you can do is you can turn your unit on here, and let it boot up. So anyways, one of the cool things that I like about it is the Motor Guide talks to the Lowrance. Minn Kota does not talk to the Lowrance. Lowrance talks to Motor Guide only. So you can hook this up through the, what is it, NEMA 2000. Basically those are just wires. Anyway, it connects to the back of the Lowrance, and then the Lowrance can be your backup remote control. Okay, so you can actually click on this and you have an autopilot right here. See this autopilot? So you can click autopilot right there. Then you have your trolling motor. There's your trolling motor right on your screen. You can use your anchor, or you can use your heading lock. Those of y'all who don't know what a heading lock is basically you point your trolling motor in a certain direction. It sends a row of GPS dots out in a straight line, and it continues to follow that string of dots no matter which way. You know, the wind might be blowing this way, the current might be going this way, or whatever. That trolling motor is going to keep you on that straight line. And that's very, very helpful in the instance that you forget your remote control, and it happens to all of us. So that's really cool. What you can also do when you have that is, let's say I have a waypoint on here. Let me get off of this screen here. I'm gonna zoom out. Oh, not that far. So anyways, once you get used to this thing, it's very cool. So you can just click on any of your GPS marks. Number 175 right there. Push the go to button. Once you do, it's gonna engage your autopilot. That red line right there shows up on your GPS map screen, and then your Motor Guide is going to drive your boat to that waypoint. Once you get there, you can click the anchor button, and then that's all you do. So you go push the power button, autopilot, and there's your settings. You go to the anchor, and then that's it. And then you're anchored up and you're fishing right where you want to be fishing. It's very cool. I use it a lot, especially when I forget my remote. So that is a must-have. and we'll turn that off. So anyways, that's my take on the Motor Guide versus the Minn Kota. I've been on, like I said, several boats with the Minn Kota. I don't think they have a bad product, but as far as I can tell, if you're running a Lowrance, it's good to have a backup system as far as running your trolling motor, because you will forget that remote control eventually if you fish a lot. I like the Motor Guide. I'm going to keep it for at least a couple more years while it's under warranty. So anyways, hope that helps y'all make your decision on buying a trolling motor. If you're running a Humminbird, then you need to know that Minn Kota will hook up to that Humminbird and work up as a backup unit, just like this one hooks up to a Lowrance. So it's something to consider depending on what GPS unit you're running or what GPS unit you want to buy. Anyways, hope that helps out.